Of the many arguments levied against physician associates since inception, the most frequent, to my knowledge, is how do they know what they don't know? That is a loaded question with a straightforward answer. We can't. But I don't think it ends there. There is more to this. When that question is asked, I suppose it's made in comparison to doctors, as we are both medical practitioners but with different preparations. We will all agree that no doctor comes out of the block knowing everything that is meant to be known about medicine. The same applies to physician associates, but there is a difference. Being bald with rakish tendencies and speaking Latin does not make one Caesar. The question supposes newly qualified medical doctors can know what they don't know by virtue of how they were trained, and the same cannot be said of physician associates. But is that accurate? In the Apology of Socrates, when he was asked why his accusers brought false charges against him, he remarked that this was because the Oracle of Delphi had deemed him the wisest in Athens. To prove he wasn't, he went across the city roaming about, speaking to people, claiming all sorts of knowledge. But he soon realized that these people did not know what they were talking about. Lofty claims without any basic understanding. He thus concluded that the oracle was right, not because he was wiser than all men, but because he was aware of his own ignorance. An AMU consultant I met during my training once said, an incompetent clinician, ignorant of their own incompetence, is the single most dangerous person practicing medicine. So I asked this question: are physician associates standing in the agora of medicine claiming knowledge they don't have? To answer this question, we must first know how we confirm we know something. This begins by a person being introduced to some new information. This person must then learn it, and once they've learned it, we can only assume they know. To really confirm that they know, they must be tested, and should they pass this test successfully, we can then conclude they indeed know this new information. Let's apply this to medicine. A new medical student starts medical school, comes in at one end, learns all sorts of things, is tested at the end, comes out successfully, and we conclude they know what they know by virtue of the tests. However, a physician associate goes to PA school, going at one end, come out the other end, having learned all sorts and having been tested. However, they are not assumed to have the knowledge they claim by virtue of the tests. Hence the question, how do they know what they don't know? I do believe this question will be perfectly justified if one were to assume that physician associates are being trained to become doctors. They are not, and they can't be. The knowledge learned and the tests given are different, and hence the outcomes are also different. Herein lies the key, at least so I think. Physician associates can't possibly know what they don't know if the information was never presented to them in the first instance, and thus was not tested for. But they can know when they don't know, and these are two separate things. Not being able to identify a Burgada on an ECG is one thing, and not being able to say this ECG is abnormal is another thing. Though the tests physician associates go through does not make them doctors, it makes them PAs. The tests verify something, it confirms something. No PA created their own exam, sat it, and proclaimed themselves as physician associates. An institution told them, once you pass these paying exams, you are good enough to practice as a physician associates. That is why physician associates believe we know what we know. You not trusting that institution and how that knowledge is verified is a whole different kettle of fish, and it's not a burden any physician associate should shoulder. However, if you sincerely believe that regardless of the training physician associates go through and the tests they go through, they are still not fit to practice medicine based on your evidence, you have the moral duty to protest this profession. I wouldn't agree with you, but I will see where you are coming from. It's your boy OT, and I'm out. Salute.